Good evening. I'm Kevin O'Hare, and as Director of the Royal Ballet, I'm delighted to welcome you to this very special insight celebrating the former principal dancer, the one and only Wayne Sleep. Wayne has just released a new memoir called Just Different, which explores his life on and off the stage. And later this evening, he'll be chatting with Dame Monica Mason about life on stage and off stage, and a few stories from that book will be in there as well. But first we have a treat. Wayne will coach the role of the jester, which will be in the Cinderella performance, which is Sir Frederick Ashton's Cinderella, which will be coming to a stage here in Covent Garden from the 2nd or 3rd of December this year. He will be coaching Casper Lench, a young dancer new to the role, and we'll have Robert Clark on the piano. So I'm delighted to welcome Wayne Sleep and Casper and Robert.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Casper Lench. Okay. Now, here we go. No pressure, all right? He's very new to the company. It's your first year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, more or less, proper year, yes. And he miraculously learnt my role when I did Puck in Midsummer Night's Dream in a day for an evening performance when everybody was off. And apparently he caused a sensation. Did you see it? Yes. So we're about to hopefully see another sensation. Right, do you want to just do it for me and we'll have a look. And then we'll talk about it. It has, I must say, it has changed since I did it originally. I took over from Alexander Grant, the original in it, and a lot of things get changed and moved around. So I'm not adamantly going back to the original and trying to make him do that because it won't fit, because the courtiers do different things now as well when he beckons them on. It's really about character and about full stops, commas, and exclamation marks. Thank you. All right, let's stop there then, because if you do the whole thing each time, he's going to be exhausted. He's sitting, isn't he, at the beginning? But you can't sit on this floor. He's up some steps, so he's going to stand here. Now, just show me the first two movements with the arms. You're there with your, yes. It actually was that, rather than just try that.
Yes.
You can take these suggestions, but you can do the other version if you like. But yeah, so it's like wiping out 1, 2. Yes. I think that's more fulfilling in a way. That's good. Then this next jump is fine. And then you do the forward roll. And then we used to do 14 of those, but you only do about 8 now, but that's fine. And, well, but one thing, just show me those ballonets. And 1, 2. Yes. Can you make them a little bit higher? Sort of. And 1, that's better. Yes, good. They disappear into the ground down there. So, and it's so it's the inclination of the head. There, yes. So it's there, then there. That's better. You do, it's similar, but it's lighter, isn't it? Yes, but it is a cross, yes, to make the difference in the forward step and the back step rather than just to there, you see. Do you want to have a little go at that? Forward, cross, down, cross, cross, yes. And more crossed. So there, this one's all right. When you get to here, really cross that one. And cross it there, that's it. Yes. I mean, I've got very short legs, so I got to the end very quickly, so I could hold it. But yours is extends, but it's nice if you can try and get a picture. Maybe not quite so big, but more picture-wise. Yes, yes, edge to it. That's nice. That's much better. Yeah, fine. Good. Try and breathe. Yep. You know what happens if you don't breathe? You die. Right, okay. No, but it's got a lot to take in. All right, so that's fine. Shall we just go on? Yeah. So, yes. Now, what I'd just like to say about the character right from the start, he rules this scene. It's not till the prince comes on does he take second place. But he loves it that the prince hasn't arrived yet, so he's in charge. So he has a slight sort of, if you can think of a slight swagger to it. Mm-hmm. And it's sort of like, so he's got a sort of serious moment. It's not all just jolly. Mm-hmm. It's like when he brings them on, and looks them up and down, and oh yes, I like her, she came last week. And, just make some stories up in your own head. The audience don't really have to understand that, but it gives the person something like a storybook for himself to know why he's doing each gesture, else it just goes on relentlessly, doesn't it? Yeah. So do you want to do a couple of those bows? So you've just, don't know where you pick it up. There, yes. And yes, and your back's to us here. Can we not be more like that to it? Mm-hmm. Ask Wendy, she'd probably kill me. All right. That's better. Now we see it. Now, a bit more open that side. And that's better. Yes, there we are. That's better. Good. That's fine. Good. And then we're on. And then, next bit. What? Yes. Yes. And so when you're doing this, you're saying, come on. And you. That's better. Yes, it gives a bit more storytelling. You can change it. Actually react to people and make them react to you, even though they're doing the steps. Just hurry on. Yeah. You're trying to get them all in order for the prince. Mm-hmm. So he's rather bossy as well, okay? Good. Okay, do you want to do all that again? Let's go on because we haven't got time, have we? Right, shall we do, yes, do that. So the next section, please, Rob. Yes, please. And lovely jump. Good. Yes. Good boy. Stop there then. Now, again, it was meant to be early on, it was meant to be open and through so the first courtiers, we jump through them that way, and then the next courtiers come through, he actually went under their arms. But I don't think there's a courtier, is there? Not sure. I don't think there is. So that's changed. But I notice what they do instead is a jeté and then this. Yes, but that was good. But like I said before, if you could, it's more of a drag. So he's jumping, it's not just a da-da. He's going jump, da, ba, ba, da, da, da. Right, leaving that way behind, very Alexander Grant. That's better. Yes, much more. Great. Very good. Okay, good. I know you've got a huge jump, but try and keep on the music. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, then on. Yes, let's go on. Yeah, don't look so surprised. Yes, okay. Oh, yes, just a minute. Did you do these yet?
I was about
Oh, yes, okay. Let's see those. Okay. Stop it. Well, this used to be out. I think they could do that. Yes, there you are. Else, it's all in. I think the fast ones you can do in. But let's at least do some of the original there. Because you're looking to the people again and knowledge. That's it. There we are. And then this kneel. I used to take so much longer. Maybe I couldn't get up, but I used to take so much longer on the kneel to the side. You suddenly slow down, done all that, and then you're just relaxing and give yourself some light and shade, rather than kneel up, pirouette, da-da-da, knee. Yes, but we used to go slowly into that. It will fit the music, I think, if he goes through it. Do you want to play that a little bit? I'll try and mark it for you.
Play straight on the little.
Yes. See, it fits, doesn't it? And that's much slower, isn't it? Good. Shall we try that then? I like it calming down. Good. That's better. Oh, that's nice. I like it. Yeah. I'm sorry. Look at that. I'm jealous. Yes, but before you go down, go up. Up and down, not just. Yeah? Can we see that? Up and down, thank you. And slowly down if you can. Yes. Thank you. Great. Good. Somebody will catch it. Good, okay then. So where are we now? Just do you want to go on? Yeah. To the end. And then we'll do, when you've had a little rest, we'll do the whole thing right through. Mm-hmm. Good, okay then. No pressure, he's got rehearsals all tomorrow. Right, okay. Try and think of that. Ah, good. That's better. Good. That's better. And now take in the audience. Good. Now. Good boy. Nice. That's it, through the legs. Good. Don't do the twirly bit before. I think it's much more impactful if you don't do anything. You do the double tour, but don't do that after. Did you do that after? Yes, you did. I don't think so. You do da-da-da-da-dum, bum, pwum. And it's that, you see, that is the movement, and that takes away from it. Do you see? Yeah. Go on, just do a single order. Just go. And bum, yeah. But should be looking to this. Oh. That's that. Yes. There. That's it. That's the one. Yes, you're supposed to be looking at it, sort of going through your leg. Yeah. Yeah, and that brings our attention to it as well, rather than just a pretty picture. And I did speak to him just before this because I noticed on the video that the step isn't complete, but there may be a reason for this. The way they're trained today, their limbs are much more like race horses, and you can see the long. We were a bit more sort of stodgy looking, I think. But we used to have to do a full plie into the double tour. Do you want to try? But I don't want to injure you. God, no. But have you done jumps from a plie? Why don't you just do? I mean, I can hold you if you want, but I think wouldn't be much help. Yes. Well, there you are. No problem at all. That hasn't been seen for years, so it's nice to have it back. The real Ashton Kutcher. Ashton wasn't easy, was he? And it's all finicky stuff, and it makes you breathless as well. Now, glissade jetés. Do you do the cease now? I added that to it, yes. Yeah, glissade 1, 2, 3. Something with the head, it's there. Just let me see the arms and the head. It's over the leg. Ba, da da da, angled. D, da 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 da, D, da 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 da. Yes, is that right with the arms? Just let's see the arms. Just to mark it with the arms. Ba, be. That's right. It was, ba. It was over.
Okay.
Well, see, just have a look at it. Ba, ba, da, 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 da. Yes, but it all goes in one. It's not a flick at the end. And it's slow. It's quieter. Dee, da, 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 dee, da, da, da. Yeah. Okay, just try that.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. And it's more quasi. It's more cross. It's sort of, I know you've got a semicircle of them around you, and it's straight to the side, but the angle is sort of diagonally finished, so we see the attitude at the back. Yeah. Beautiful square attitude. Your arm is still coming up to it, but yeah. Well, if it's easier to bring the arms through, just do it. I remember in the Bluebird part of it, you'll probably do that soon, so you just will hear this. I was made to do it. Do you know the Bluebird? So, da, 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 da. They made me do it like this. Ba, 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 da. And after 8 of those, you were breathless. But in other places, countries, well, the Russians only do 1 diagonal. We have to do 2. So the best way to do it is go through to give you the jump, you see. And that's what is helping you to go through. That's just to demonstrate the difference. But there's nothing wrong with that. Do you want to do the whole thing? Good. Go and grab a drink, yes, as long as it's not gin and tonic. Good, isn't it? But it's just to get the sort of... And I remember that when Alexander Grant did it, he was much more sinister in the role. And he told me that he loved his prince. And when he holds her gown at the back, as he walks down, because Cinderella's arrived, as he takes the cape off, he realized he's lost his prince forever. And he walks off sadly. And even if the audience don't know that, it's wonderful for us to have something to base it on. So you could think about that later as well. Okay, enough talk. Thank you. That's better, much better. Now keep quasi to us, that's it. Let's see your face, that's it. Better. That's nice. Drag, that's nice. That's same again. Better. That's it, good boy. And breath. Breathe. Love. Gently. Hold it. Hold. That's it. Hold. That's it. That's nice. Careful. Bravo! Very good. Just here to get the attention back when you're on this part. I did. Have we done? No time to do the other solo, you'll be pleased to know. But just to get the audience's attention again at the end, instead of faffing a lot with this, sorry, well, I think you should assert yourself because this is the last statement of that very first scene, so it needs a punctuation mark. So before it, I think you should just do dum, da 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 dum, and then come forward. So you've got them all together, you've got them there, and present yourself like the prince. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen. Fabulous.
Just huge thanks to Casper. That is actually his first proper rehearsal.
Was it?
So in front of everybody.
Well, I hope he can walk tomorrow.
Yeah. And thank you, Robert, as well on the piano.
Thank you, Robert, yes.
So I'm delighted that former director of the Royal Ballet, Dame Monica Mason, is here to chat with you, Wayne. So
yes.
if you wanted to come.
Thank you, Kevin.
There we are. Hiya.
I had a little observation there. You know, you were asking about that, the arm
Yes.
on the jeté
Yes.
sideways. I thought the arm was above and you were under.
Yes, you are under it.
Yes.
I
Yes.
couldn't do too many things at once.
No, I know.
No, just get him into
Get him.
that shape.
It was-
And you can see the attitude then.
I
You
can see the
If
difference.
it's straight to the front, you can see the
I
difference.
could see the difference already. I'm going to
Yes.
give you a little water,
Thank you, darling.
just in case, because I'm sure you need a little drop.
Shame it's water.
There we go. Well, this is exciting, Wayne, because I think everybody will want to know about your book. Yes, and I wanted to ask you, knowing that there were 2 books already
Yes.
about you,
Yes.
what made you want to do a memoir?
Right. The first book was called Precious Little Sleep. And it was done by Box Tree, and they were joining with Macmillan. And that Christmas, they let a lot of their staff go suddenly. And my book didn't get into the lists of any bookshop after all that work and serializing it in the Daily Mail. And it remained on the factory floor because they were dismissed, so they all went on strike, I think. Something like that happened. So there were 4,000 books there, but somehow they crept into, sort of Amazon and things like that. And I bought 1,000 of them back for £1 each and sold them for 30 quid. For my charity, for the Wayne Seed Foundation. But others, so people think they have got the first book, but it was never anointed, it was never baptized. And so I felt a bit of a, it wasn't quite there. And the other book was by a girl called Gay Search. And that was her name. And she did a diary of 6 weeks in the run-up to a show called Song and Dance.
Right.
I'd done Cats for Andrew Lloyd Webber. and I'd created the role of Mr. Mistopheles for him. And the next year he said, he just bought this little theatre around the corner, would I like to play in it? I said, you bet. That little theatre was the Palace Theatre, Cambridge Circus. And we put a show together called Song and Dance. Marty Webb had just done a #1 selling LP called Tell Me on a Sunday. He was trying to make a second act for that as a fully fledged musical. Couldn't come up with any ideas. And I asked if I could have the variations which he wrote for his brother on the cello on a theme of Paganini as my second half to a show I was going to do called Dash. Why I asked for that music is because it was based on classical music. He was doing the same as me. We were building bridges. I wanted to go into the West End. He'd come from the Royal Academy of Music. And he was using his classical technique, as I was, to go into jazz, tap, and contemporary, which I did. And it's all in the music, so it would have been perfect. And he said, no, I've got a better idea. Why don't we make it a concert for the theatre for 12 weeks, and we'll call it Song and Dance? Well, it ran for 3 years. So that was that.
It was a huge success.
So I did something else with it.
So that was the first major thing after Cats for
Yes,
you.
yes, the year after.
Tell us a little bit about Cats.
Well, Cats, Andrew Lloyd Webber got in touch with my manager and said, I'd like to see Wayne because, he'll know all the choreographers in the West End and the Royal Ballet. And he said, and I'm thinking of asking him who I should choose as a choreographer for a musical I'm writing. So I was invited round to his house in the evening, gave me dinner, and I sat with him, his wife, and my manager, and we were talking. I said, what's it called? He said, Cats. I thought, oh, it won't run. 28 years later. But, yes, banal idea, really.
Yes.
But all his ideas were crazy, really.
But that went into the new theatre, and that was
That's
an
right.
unusual little theatre,
yes,
wasn't
right.
it?
That shape. I think the Winter Garden was there before it's pulled down. I'm not sure. And whoever owned it wanted to build some flats and shops on the site.
Yes.
But the council said you can only build on the site if you build a theatre as well. So they built a theatre, but they didn't really pay much attention to it. You didn't know where the stage... it was just it wasn't really suitable for anything. Yes. So they turned it into a television studio. Andrew Lloyd Webber was having This Is Your Life was being televised on him there. And as he was looking around, he thought, hold on a minute, it's got to revolve. I could put loads of rubbish over there. Da, da, da. And he thought it would be the perfect place for Cats.
And it was.
And it was. And when I was at dinner with him, he said, let's get round the piano. I'd just like to play this little tune I'm writing for a solo. Oh, why don't you hum along to it? And I thought, this isn't dinner, it's an audition. And so I started to sing along, and his wife came in, and she went, Wayne, I didn't know you could sing. Neither did I said. But I got the part, so I was able to create the role of Mr. Mistopheles.
And you were in it for how long?
I did 9 months. And that's
9 months.
the first time I'd ever done 8 shows a week.
Gosh, amazing.
For, taxing the same muscles.
And at the same time, you were still listed as a dancer here, as a principal dancer here.
Oh, yes, I was still here.
Yeah.
In fact, they were going to let me go when Kenneth joined with Peter Wright. I didn't want to go to America because the year before I'd gone to America and I'd had 11 solo roles or more, and we all had a fan base, as you did.
Yes.
You had your fans in New York, and they'd follow you all over America, I remember. If you were going to do a new role, they'd go to Chicago or wherever it was. Right. They were fanatical, weren't they?
Amazing.
Wonderful people. And you get free photographs from out front from them as well. Illegally. And I didn't want to go back. And also I'd been made third cast in Midsummer Night's Dream as Puck. And I'd been first cast before that. And I thought, well, it's a bit sudden. You realise you need one of the better people doing it over there in New York. And I said I didn't want to go. And I'd already auditioned for, Prospero, what's it called? Tempest.
The Tempest.
Getting late in the head. And I auditioned for the role of Ariel, and I got it in Regent's Park Open Air Theatre. So I asked for leave of absence, which would have been 12 weeks. And I thought, well, if that's what they think, and they called me in the office, said, you can't go there, you've got to do this. They said, well, if you don't come to America, you have a little corner in this company, and we'll just have to fill it with somebody else. So I thought, well, and I knew that Kenneth Macmillan loved tall, long, beautiful legs and all that. So I thought I was a no-runner already, and Ashton had left, and I thought, so have I, you know. And I decided to stay with it. And the protagonist, Michael Soames, who put me through it, I'll tell you, it's in the book. And the thing about the book is I've been able to release a lot of angst thoughts in a nice way, and now I've got rid of it. I just feel so light about everything.
Yes,
that book
you've
is
offloaded.
done. Yes, I've offloaded. Mm-hmm. And so when I went into the office, Michael Soames had been to the board of directors, and they said, no way can we let him go. He's popular and all this sort of thing. So when I said I want to do The Tempest, goodbye everybody, they said, oh, good, we'll see you next season, have a lovely run. So they've been told to bring me back in.
Okay.
So then I was able to put in place, I was able to put in place the fact that I could get leaves of absence every so often. And that's how that started.
You took advantage.
And they were glad to get rid of me, actually, because when I didn't have any roles, I was a pain, you know, and, you know.
But then you came back, and then Kenneth used you.
Yes, it all turned round, you see. And that's what the book's about as well.
Yeah.
It's about turning a negative into a positive.
Yes, yes.
And that somehow happened. And he did, well, of course, the elite syncopation. Used the smallest boy in the company, which was me, the tallest girl, Verdi German. And he said, I'm going to put this part of her together. You were...
Calliope.
You were marvellous. That blue head turban you wore.
Yes.
You were very sexy in that, I remember.
Very yes.
You had some slidey things as well,
yes,
didn't
lots
you?
of slidey things.
Yeah.
It was the whole ballet really was an opportunity to let go.
Yes.
You know, we could all really have fun.
Yes.
And we did so many performances.
We had an encore.
And dozens and dozens. Yes.
In Bristol, we had an encore for that ballet.
On that raked stage.
Oh, don't.
Yes.
You start at the back of the stage, finish in the footlights, no matter what you're doing. If not, into the pit. But Cameron McIntosh has made it level now if you want to go back.
Oh, really? Oh, really?
You're making
I think it's a little
comeback.
late for me. I think
Oh,
so.
no?
But do you remember we performed Elite in the tent in Battersea Park?
That's right.
In 1976. It was the hottest summer. And we were going to...
No aircon.
No aircon, and we were going to film it, and we made a little boat journey. Do you remember up the Thames? And we got off at the Battersea, at the pier, and then they started filming us as we walked towards the...
Oh, great. And that was part of the TV show, wasn't it?
Yes,
That's
it was.
the recording of it.
Yes, yes.
Well, when he put me with the tallest girl, he said, if this doesn't work, because, you know, everybody does tall, small, I'm going to scrap it, just to warn you now. But what he didn't know is that I was quite, even though I didn't do a lot of pottage, I was quite strong because, well, I'd lifted Fred as well. Yeah. But I was always, at the upper school, we had pas de deux lessons. And all the tall boys wanted the lightest, smallest girls to partner because it was easier. So I'd always be left with the tallest girl in the class because they didn't want me. So I was partnering the tallest girl, and that enabled me to be strong, and he didn't know that, and he was amazed I could cartwheel her off my head and go through her legs and things like that. And I'm sure it's because I'd been used to lifting big girls. Well, I lifted you once.
It was, yes, you did. No offence.
Remember? You don't remember.
No, I know. You've told me this. I don't remember this.
No, this was when...
This was in Jerry Robbins.
Jerry Robbins'
and Dances at a Gathering, yes.
I was doing the giggle waltz.
Giggle dance, yes.
Giggle dance. And he used to pair us up, didn't he? He used to send telegrams from New York. I mean, Jerry was so difficult about casting and things like that.
He held the reins so tightly,
Yes,
didn't
and
he?
you never knew if you were going on or not.
No.
Anyway, he came to rehearse me in this, and it somehow worked that there you were, the two of us doing the giggle dance together. And I remember I had to lift you in a pressage like that. And I thought, well, she jumps high, I won't have to do anything. But I managed to get you there, much to everybody was waiting for me to fall apart. And then I waltzed with you around the stage like this. And I'm glad to say your foot wasn't touching the floor.
I think it was probably a very scary moment, which is why I've done a blank.
I'd be scared of me as well, actually. It's very good, too.
We were very lucky in the early days when Rudolph first arrived, weren't we?
Yes. Okay.
We had a great time with Rudolph.
Yeah, well, good.
And you've put some of that in the book.
Some of it.
Yes. Not the naughty bits.
No. But Rudolph,
But he loved you.
he adored me.
He adored you.
And I think it's because I said no. No, the thing is, he could be the most benevolent, charming chap in the world. And when he put on the airs and graces, gosh, you felt like you'd gone to heaven, especially because he, the greatest dancer in the world, had invited you to dinner or something.
Yes.
And then the next day, you just didn't know it's the same person.
Yeah.
You know, he had a solo in Marguerite and Armand. And that run round the stage, I've never seen anything like it with the cape. And he had a riding crop, and he would do these amazing grand jeté, but both legs together, and suddenly one would come out from some, and we'd never seen that step either. And he'd come to the wings like this, and if you were very lucky, he'd let you break in his ballet shoes by moulding them.
Oh, really?
Yes, if you're very lucky. And or he would come to the wing and beat you up with the crop and throw it at you and carry on walking. Or he'd come to the wing and blow you a kiss.
Yes, yes.
But that was Rudolph.
But he kind of released the whole scene for men, didn't he?
Yes. I always say he put men on the map.
Yes.
He added a solo in the first act of Swan Lake.
Yes.
We didn't have before.
No.
He made sure that the men weren't just in the last part of the fourth act of Sleeping Beauty. They had much more to do. There was much more in the first act of Giselle, I think.
Yes, yes.
That's true, isn't it? He made the men as important as the women. So thank you, Rudolph.
He stopped being behind the woman and came alongside
That's
her.
right, that's it.
That's right.
It was perfect. And I was very lucky to be there at that time. I was very lucky to be with you.
Well, I was lucky to be there at that time, and we were all lucky to be there. And of course, then I always want to pay tribute to Margot.
Of course.
Because, she was, especially for the women, she was a real role model. You know, she just set a standard for dedication,
for everything,
and discipline and everything, for everything. Yes.
Because, I never ever saw her do that. She was always on the edge of us. I saw her in the Tube once, and I thought, what's she doing getting the Tube? She's our leading dancer. But anyway, and she was sitting forward, absolutely upright like this.
Yes.
And I said, Dame Margaret, when we got chatting later, I said, I saw you on the Tube and you were still sitting upright. Weren't you exhausted? She said, yes. She said, but Wayne, I'm always like this, so when I go to the bar in the morning, I'm already there. She said, you all slump around and have to pull it all together before you start.
Yes, I know.
Which was so amazing. And then she came, when they did This Is Your Life on me, they caught me on stage in Cats. It was the matinee, and we were doing the curtain call, and Elaine Page threw me forward like that, and I thought, what's going on? And this guy called Eamon Andrews came on behind us going, oh, ho, ho, Wayne Sleet, this is your life. And I thought, what life? I haven't had a life yet. I'm very busy. I'm trying to, And he took me to a theatre nearby between shows. We recorded the whole of This Is Your Life, and then I had to do the evening show when I got back. But,
really?
Yes, but she put a message saying, "Hello, Eamon, I can't be there. I'm stuck in Panama, etc., etc." And then right at the end of the show, she walked on. She'd come all the way from Panama. So that was something else.
Yes, that was very special.
Yes.
And then your relationship with Dame Ninette.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, you write about it wonderfully in the book, I must say. I think it's
special.
It's so honest.
Yes.
What you say is so honest and open. But she adored you.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm very lucky because she liked naughty boys.
She loved the boys more
She
than the
adored
girls.
the boys, yes.
She loved the boys more than the girls.
Well, there weren't that many that were that
No.
good, were there? And they were hard to find as well.
right, yes.
So when she got a good batch, she was delighted. And
Yes.
in my year, we had lots of good dancers, didn't we? You know,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
suddenly.
Yeah.
And there were good dancers before that, but they were sort of dispersed, sort of not as
But
a big...
she was
crowd.
always looking to build the company, wasn't
Yes,
she?
yes.
I mean, I know when I joined, which was before you,
Yes.
you know, it was not that long after the war.
Right.
So, you know, I was in the 50s, came to the company in the 50s. And so I was aware, I don't think I've made this up, I think I really was aware that she was still trying to build the company.
Oh, yes.
You know, and that's why when we went to America in 1960 and then Russia for the first time in 61, you know, so much was depending on the success of that tour.
Yes.
So we were really lectured to before we went to Russia,
Really?
and it was a shock
Yes.
because it was a
Well,
scary,
they've been
scary
there for
place to
200
be.
years.
Well, yes,
And you were
I
only
mean,
50 years old.
That's right. We had so much to live up to.
Yes.
But she also knew that we had things that they didn't have.
Good repertoire,
Yes,
for instance.
yes,
You know,
yes.
God, I'll be shot. I won't be going there again.
Yeah.
No, but it's true.
She
Because,
was very proud of the fact that
Yes.
she could take the company to Russia.
yes.
Yes.
And I got to know her because a situation happened. I won't go into it now, but a very personal thing happened. Also, I was going to take hormones to make me grow. I was a student, and I stopped growing when I was 16. I was 5'2", and I remained ever since, and I'm shrinking with old age. But she found out that I was going to take hormones to make me grow. You can, and they've perfected the science now, but then you could have grown into any shape or anything
Yes.
like that. And she said, "What's this I hear about you taking a pill sleep? You're just going to have to turn twice as fast and jump twice as high as everybody else. Now get on with it." And so I did, basically, you know, and that's what got me in. She did let me have the Blue Boy in Les Patineurs for my graduation,
Yes.
and I think that sealed it.
Yes. it
You know, in
definitely
the end.
did.
And so I am the smallest guy to have ever got in a ballet company, but, you know, not without her advice. So I think that from then on, she kept an eye on me. And when she was 80, she did her last piece of choreography, and she chose me as the subject to do a solo. And it was based on vestries.
Oh, yes.
And she found some old music of his and an old illustration.
Do you remember it?
Well, I can't do it now.
Was it filmed, Wayne?
The rehearsal was filmed, but it was in the morning of the gala, and the floor was like ice, so slippery,
Yes.
and I'm not very good in it, so don't let anybody see it. But it is there.
Oh, right.
And it is a difficult solo, and it's very baroque.
Yes.
And I have a tailcoat, that went, I had to get rid of that, and the hat. I always got rid of the hat and the coat. Whenever we did a dress rehearsal, you let things fly off, wouldn't you, that you didn't want to wear, or I did. Anyway, but she did this solo for me, and she just retired. It was a wonderful solo, and I felt so honoured. And at one point she said, "Right, do this." And I couldn't work it out, and I was trying to fathom what she was doing. She went, "Lie on the floor." So I lay on the floor. She got on my legs and went, "Da, da, 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 da. Now do it in the air." But also when there were children, little students, all standing wanting to watch her rehearse me. And she said, "Now shut that door, first of all." I said, "Why?" She said, "I'm so nervous. I haven't choreographed anything for 50 years. And I'm so nervous." I said, "Well, so am I, you know. Shall we shiver together, you know, in a way?" But no, it was, you know, like that. And I said, well, you know, knowing that she'd retired, I said, now, when can we rehearse? I've got rehearsals in the day with the company. So I imagined about 5:30 at night, something like that. She said, let me see. And she looked at the diary, said, I've only got 8 a.m. in the morning. Will that do? Well, I had to be in at 6:30 to warm up every morning for the role, because she was still so busy, even though she'd retired.
Yes.
And it was great. We had a wonderful time together.
That was wonderful. And then you visited her
Yes.
in Barnes
Yes.
towards the end of her life.
I used to go and see her, and the first thing she'd say to me, now, have you made lots of money? And I said, yes. And he said, have you spent it all? I said, yes. He said, thought so. And then she wanted to know how it was going. Yes. She came to see Cats, yes. And she came to see a couple of others. So did Ashton.
Yes.
The only two, I must say.
Yes.
But ventured out into the West End to see what was going on in those days. Nobody else. I think everybody else was turning their back to me at that time. Because what I did was I put ballet, jazz, tap, and contemporary into one show. Well, of course, you're pigeonholed in those days. It's a bit better now, isn't it? Mm. But then, those days, if you want to see ballet, you go to an opera house. You want to see tap, you go to a Broadway show. You want to see contemporary, which had only just arrived in this country. It didn't arrive here till the 60s, contemporary dance. Mm. And Martha Graham sent over a guy called Robert Cohan to invent contemporary dance, so I was very lucky. Yeah. And I used to go to him with my time off. Yeah. I got taught by him, what a teacher. I got taught by Matt Maddox at the Dance Centre, who was in Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
Yes, he was an American.
American. And he come over to England to live, and he was teaching jazz, and he'd been taught jazz by the inventor of jazz, Jack Cole. Yes. What a teacher, you see. And then I had Maria Fay and other wonderful teachers, Eileen Ward, yes. You know, and ex-dancers from the Royal Ballet. Yes. So I was getting my stamina as well worked up, because if I'd stayed in the company, all I did was a 10-15 class every morning, and that wasn't enough, because I wasn't in a lot of the ballets. You know, you can't have 8 guys in a line and dip in the middle, could you? You know, and it was all symmetrical, so that was what happened.
But you wouldn't change anything, would you? You wouldn't have changed anything.
Well, I could have changed a few manners of mine, perhaps, but no, I think I used to speak out because my mother, we were lower working class, and my mother would never say boo to a goose. I mean, you'd never ask for a second opinion or anything like that. And as she'd had me illegitimately as well, she always felt guilty for having me out of wedlock, and it stopped her having a career. And so when it came my turn, I shouted.
She had a nice voice.
Oh, that's right, yes.
Yes, you said in the book.
Yes, what happened there was, it was 1952, I was about 4. I didn't know what my mother was up to. She'd stopped being a nurse. She was a nurse during the war. She worked in the burns unit at Ely, where they did the first plastic surgery, put new ears on pilots and things like that. Wonderful stories. And then she wanted to be a singer, so she got a job as a waitress in a little restaurant in Plymouth, where we were. And she sang for 2 weeks at the Odeon Cinema in the intervals, because they had live entertainment in the intervals in those days. And she came on and sang, and then she had to stop it because something else happened. And a talent scout saw her at the Odeon Cinema and offered her a contract for the BBC in some way or other. And she wouldn't take it because of questions being asked and me being a one-parent family. And she then made a record of it, because everybody who went to the cinema said, where's that wonderful lady and her voice? So they asked her to make a record so they could play that in the intervals instead. My sister found the record a year ago. And I knew I'd tried to work it on a thing, but I mean, I'd scratched it all over. And I remember I hadn't seen it for years. It's like a big disc. It's a bit bigger than a 78. And I was doing a show called Private Passions, a radio
Michael
show.
Barclay.
That's it. Yeah, you've done that?
No, but I know him and I love the programme.
Yes, well, you'll be on it next week, Ostrich. No, you should do it. I'll give him a ring.
He has asked me, actually.
He has asked you, I bet, yes. Anyway, I took the record in. They said, bring it in. Something remarkable happened when they started spinning it. And suddenly you could hear through the cracks my mother singing, "Dancing in the dark." And it went on. And I didn't know she could have been a brilliant
really good
soprano. You know, it was so strong. We never sang that sort of music. She used to cool my food down by carrying it around the kitchen, blowing it out, singing a song, you know, to cool my food down, things like that. That's how we were. And they managed to do it, and so I was able to play it on Private Passions. So my mother did eventually get a contract for the BBC.
BBC.
Because of me, she didn't do it, and because of me, she got it. So that's a wonderful
Yes.
moment.
And she came to see everything you
Yes.
did.
Oh, yes, always supported me. And Diana, of course,
Yes.
was a great friend to her.
Yes.
Diana, when she got to know me, she insisted on including my family as well. And when we done the dance here, we did a dance, a 3-minute dance, and on the 8th curtain call, I remember, I said, "You've got to bow to the Royal Bark." She said, "I'm not bowing, I won't tell you about." And I said, "Well, I have to." And as we ran off stage, she said, "You won't get your OBE like that, dear." But we had a lot of banter. And she said afterwards, when the Christmas party was happening in the theatre, she said, "Where's your mother, Wayne?" She never met her. "I want to break a cracker with her. I want to pull a cracker with her."
How wonderful.
And my mother kept the little chain, you know, right until she died. And we had a lot of
Yes.
toing and froing together, Diana, and she used to come to the Muse and things. But how kind.
Yes.
And then one night I was doing a gala at the Opera House, Preservation of Birds charity, and she said to my manager, she said, "Make sure Mrs. Sleep is sitting in this seat. Don't let her wander," you know, and everything else. And she didn't know why, and the seat next to my mother was empty. And when the lights went down to see the first piece, Princess Diana snuck in and sat in the seat. And when the lights went up, she tapped my mother on the shoulder and went, "What did you think of that piece, Mrs. Sleep?" And she was there as a surprise. Things like that.
Wonderful. Yes.
Yeah.
Wayne, how did you find learning lines for a play?
I found it very difficult.
Yes.
I just wasn't used to it.
Yes.
And I have a form of dyslexia. We found out by writing this book with a co-writer that I have a form of dyslexia. I thought it was just laziness and not able to concentrate. I'm happy to say it's not just that. The big red lorry went up the hill. What the hell happened to it after that, I do not know. So as we were writing it, she found a form of dyslexia. But of course, nobody in those days would bother much. They'd say, "Your boy's lazy, can't concentrate." So, and I've got every book. Charing Cross Road used to be full of bookshops. Cyril Beaumont was there. I bought every single classic you've ever wanted in your life. Never read one of them. And on the back of the book, when I do a signing, you'll see David Hockney's quote. "This is, you know, a great read or something," even though Wayne once told me he's never read further than 7 pages of anything.
That's right.
So
learning lines was...
So learning lines was difficult too, and I'd have to do it off parrot fashion. You know, like repeat
Yes.
and repeat and
But
repeat.
don't all actors have different ways of learning?
Yes, now you see, my best way of learning is to get it on its feet. So I'm by the chair, because it's movement. I know that this line comes when I'm standing here. When I throw something over there, I know that that line is a guide to the next part of the sentence.
Oh, really, really?
But I was once, I had a director, she was very good, and I was doing Twelfth Night. I played Feste, and it's a difficult role. He's rather mentally confused a bit, and the jokes in it are about the pub when Shakespeare was alive next door that everybody would have known. So they don't quite span, so you've got to get them off pat very fast. And she said, "Now just wander around the stage," and da-da-da. I used to bang my head before every performance.
Yes.
because she gave me a free movement thing, and that's the last thing I needed. But I never had to ask for a prompt ever, and I got it.
Really?
I did it.
Did you?
I made myself do it.
What was the first thing that you did where you learnt lines?
Um,
Because you, in Cats...
The Tempest.
In Cats, you sang.
Oh, yes, yes.
You
Well, they're
spoke
very
it.
difficult words, you know.
Yes, very different.
Jellicle cats, you know, yes, all those, you know. And that wasn't so bad because I had music.
Yes.
So music was my cue. That was fine. But it's when you have to do a whole soliloquy and, you know, pages of it. I think the first one I did was She Stoops to Conquer.
Right.
And I did that on the radio, and Judi Dench was in it. I was so brave. How I did those things, I don't know. I was well out of my depth. It was the Shakespeare Company. But they said, would you like to come and try it? Judy knows that you want to try your hand at acting. She's invited you to play Tony Lumpkin. So I went to the reading, and we're all there, and I'm like this. The read-through is horrendous. It's the first day you all meet, and you have to read the whole play together, and people are listening for your vowels and all this, pretending not to. And I looked across at Judi Dench sitting there, and she put on a pair of girls' point shoes, sitting in fourth like this, looked at me, winked, took them off, put it back in her bag. Nobody else saw it, but it was just to make me feel at home.
I think that's such a lovely story.
And then, of course, we were meant to do Cats together.
Yes, yes.
And she suddenly said to me, she said, did you kick me, Wayne? I said, no. She snapped her Achilles tendon. So she couldn't be the Grisabella in Cats. And Elaine Page
Yes.
was got offered.
Who wasn't even cast, wasn't an
No.
understudy even.
She wasn't even a thought.
No.
So they had to sheepishly ask her. She'd just done Evita,
Yes.
big star. But I mean, the way she sang it was amazing. But obviously, Judy would have done it in her own way. But she so missed not doing that. But I remember when Elaine came to join us, we were just before the first previews. And Tim Rice still hadn't finished writing Memory. It was changed every day. They weren't quite with it. And funny enough, Trevor Nunn came across some words of Eliot that he could adapt. So Tim wasn't there anymore, and Trevor took over writing the lyrics for it.
Interesting.
So, right up, I mean, every night Elaine was singing different lyrics before we opened. And then, of course, when we opened, there was a bomb scare. So, I mean, Cats was so, you know...
It should have been doomed, and it wasn't.
Yes, it lifted itself like a phoenix from the flames.
And some people invested in it.
Yes, I didn't. I thought it'd never run. 28 years later, I could have been rich. Never mind, I prefer this. No, but how wrong can you be? But because we were inside it, so many people, they had a floor that was full of posters, and they were glazed over. Well, it's the worst thing you can do for a dance show, actually. So we all had to put rubbers on the bottom of our dance pumps. And, of course, when you went to do a pirouette, your leg would stay there while your body twisted round on top. And if you weren't very, you know, strong, people were dropping like flies, you know. And, yes, people were leaving, coming, going.
Tell about, because we were talking last night about COVID, and you were
Yes.
on a cruise.
Oh, yes.
Tell
Would you like to do a cruise?
No.
Well, you could tell all your wonderful stories about running the Royal Ballet.
I do not want to be on a cruise.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, you won't want to be on one after I tell you this story. I got to start doing 45 minutes, you do, and then I would do 3 different lectures, and I'd have some film, and then just talk about, like I am now, talking about experiences, but showing bits of different shows I've done. And I was going to go to Sri Lanka, business class, taken care of, balcony, bring a friend, all that. Well, they suddenly said to me, oh, they closed the port in Sri Lanka, can you get on in Perth? So I said, fine. And my husband was in Spain, so he couldn't come. And I thought, well, you know, on my own, not too bad, you know. And I was to get off in Dubai and have a week's holiday, spend all the money that I'd made. As we got to Dubai, the port closed. I had to spend another 33 days on the ship. I was meant to be there a week with my audience, some of which were wonderful, others of which were different. And but generally it was all right. But it was the last thing I expected, and I was on my own as well. And we had to come exactly the same route, but slowly. We couldn't have gone far. We could have made it in a week. But, of course, their tickets had to end on the day they arrived back in Southampton. So we had to just go very, very slowly going back. And the pilot was saying to us, "You'll find a very different world when you get back to England." You know, and he was trying. And he was putting the fear of God into us. And then we had to distance as well. And some people were...
Did you keep doing your lectures?
Well, I'd done them.
You'd done them, but
I'd done 3 lectures. Oh, yes.
But
Only 3 lectures. No, I didn't do any more. That wasn't my contract.
Oh.
And I said to them, I could do more than 45 minutes. You know, you feeding me, I've got, you know, lovely and business class, blah, blah, blah. And he said, "No, Wayne, no longer than 45 minutes. I said, "But why?" "They'll miss the bingo." Because it's all very scheduled. But on the whole, it's great to do that sort of thing. I mean, I fly to San Diego, the ship will arrive, take me up to Los Angeles, phone a friend going into Los Angeles. "Hello, David. Where are you, love?" "I'm next door to your house. Come for lunch." And that's the great thing. Never plan ahead.
That was David Hockney.
Oh, yes. And Thomas Adua in Estonia, knocked on the stage door of the Opera House. He floods of tears and, you know, all that sort of thing. And, but it's a wonderful thing because you stop for 2 days, then going across the Pacific to Honolulu, got off, spent all the money, and flew over Pearl Harbor and back again. That's the only perks, by the way, of any of our jobs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
So are you going on another one soon?
Not yet, no.
No.
But on that COVID thing, I suddenly remembered how attacked we were when AIDS presented itself. And part of this book is about bullying. It's about turning negatives to positives. It's about being bullied when you're a ballet boy and the opposition you get and the tenacity, which Margot Fontaine taught me that word, tenacity, of keeping going. And then when AIDS started to take everybody from us in the early 80s with no discrepancies whatsoever, Julian Hoskin, friends from the Royal Ballet, just dropping like flies for no reason. The way they were treated by some people, they wouldn't let you touch your friends when you went to hospital to see them. A friend of mine was dying of cancer, but it showed positive in his blood, HIV, and I wasn't allowed to go near him. I had to wear rubber gloves suddenly, a hat, an apron, and suddenly we must have looked like Martians arriving from the moon and not allowed to, and those people died in isolation, you know, before anything was done about it. So that COVID period on the ship reminded me of all those people, and it's dedicated to a lot of those people.
Yes, it is. And Freddie Mercury was important.
And Freddie, of course, my dear friend. Freddie Mercury was such a wonderful guy. You see, I was trying to build bridges by going from the Opera House to the West End, and I was trying to get people like him, a great rock star and a composer, to come in, and obviously he might have composed a ballet for you, Mr. Director over there. But I'm sure he would have done something, because he was already working with Montserrat Caballé for Barcelona, so he had a very classical mind. And I was thrilled about that, but then, of course, he went. But on his 40th birthday, he used to call me Miss Sleep. Miss Sleep! He said, "Here's your ticket." I said, "It's arrived in the..." I said, "Wonder what that was." On his 40th birthday, in the morning, he got a private jet for 50 of us to go from London to Ibiza for his birthday party that evening at Pike's Hotel, and he booked hotels for us all to stay in that night. Next morning, another flight back, all on our own with champagne. I mean, how generous. He had people there already as well.
Yeah.
I don't remember a thing. But just how generous he was.
Well, I think I don't know how we're doing for time. Did we have some questions? Were we going to have a question or two? We're not allowed to do questions tonight.
No.
Oh, shame, Wayne.
So I'm just going to say, what a delight to have Wayne back here. And thank you for the coaching, and thank you, Monica.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
It's such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you to...
Thank you, Wayne. Thank you.
And I think I just have to... And I just want to say huge thank you to Casper and Robert on the piano for the rehearsal with Wayne. And I'll do the plug for you. Do buy the book.
That's good.
I'm sure it's a fascinating read. And, you know, Wayne is such a huge part of the Royal Ballet through so many decades, and it's wonderful to have him here tonight as well. But thank you to all of you for joining us, and thank you to everybody online as well.
Thank you.